Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Muddy Outdoors.
This week's tip is a little bit more strategic. It's something we covered years ago, but it comes up quite often, so we're going to go over it again, and that's where to set up. Once you've found that spot, once you've kind of honed in on that buck, where to actually finally put your setup on that deer that you're after. And here is one of our favorite kind of spots to set up. It's a channel, this gorgeous channel here leading out, and it leads straight out to the south to a beautiful alfalfa field. We know what buck's here. We know that we want to target that buck this year. It's the time of year that we want to get set up. So where are we going to do it? On this channel. And where we set up, one of the biggest factors, believe it or not, is going to be the predominant wind direction. And it's got nothing to do with scent control, rather with deer movement itself. This channel runs north and south, straight out to a gorgeous alfalfa field. So we can set up on either side of that channel without too much worry. But there's going to be one side that's much better than the other. And that's how those deer are going to feel comfortable moving. So here in the fall, the predominant wind is northwest. It's not northwest every day, but that's most often the wind it is. So if you take note when you watch deer walk down a channel or walk through a bowl, which are our favorite places to set up, that deer is always going to walk on the off-wind side. For deer, it's all about survival, and their biggest risk of survival is when they're moving. So when they're moving, they want to make sure they have everything in their advantage. So if a deer is moving down a channel that runs north to south, he's going to walk on one side or the other based on what gives him the best odds of detecting any kind of predator or human that's there. And he's going to do that by walking on the off-wind side. So if a deer is walking down this channel and the wind is out of the northwest, that means the wind is going to be crossing from my right to my left. He's going to walk on this side of the channel because it's going to give him this buffer zone that he can smell any predators over there. And walking along this edge, the edge that he can't smell from, he's going to be able to see. So that's going to make him feel safer. So if you watch a buck and how he travels, most often they're going to travel on the downwind side of those channels. So it's kind of an odd little tip, but it's extremely useful because a lot of people like us that love to set up in those channels and bowls, it can be confusing on kind of which end at that pinch point, which end of that channel to set up, and which side that deer is going to walk down. So regardless if you're using an attractant, if you're using an ozonics or not, regardless of your scent control practices, that deer is most often going to walk on that downwind side. So that's the side we're going to want to set up on because that's going to give us our closest shot at that buck, regardless of how we're hunting them. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Muddy Outdoors. Share your own muddy moment.